So for this practice, we'll get started on the back of the body, but we'll want to find some props nearby. This evening, might be nice to have a couple of blocks. If you don't have blocks, I would recommend finding a paper towel roll. We'll find a fish pose to get into that upper back. And that can work really nice if you don't have blocks. We'll also need a bolster or some pillows, just gathering what you think you may need and settling into the space of your practice, the space of your mat, the space of yourself. You can take all the time that you need to settle down onto your back. Finding your eyes closed. And allowing yourself to drop into your breath. Acknowledging how so much of the time we don't pay attention to our breath, yet it is literally the thing that sustains life. And although it is always working in the background, there's a lot of magic that can come with harnessing this rhythm. And letting your breath flood throughout the entire body. Noticing where your breath moves through, moves into with ease. Noticing where you might feel more restricted. And placing an intention to soften, to start to unravel those patterns of tension, of holding. And using the gentle nature of your breath to coax you open from head to toe, from inside to outside. Float your left hand to your heart space and your right palm onto the belly. And tangibly experiencing the movement of your breath. And as you have your hands placed on the front of your body, can you feel the earth against the back of your body? And can you breathe a little bit more into the back of your body? And breathing low and deep. And breathing into the sides of the body. And to the front of the body. without and changing much here. And start to just let your hands float back to the sides of your body. And start to roll over onto the left side of your body. You can just cradle your head in your hands. And then we'll roll onto the belly. We'll start tonight's practice off with a Sphinx Pose. So as you come onto your belly, place your elbows down onto the earth. Your toes might come together to touch. Your feet might come wider. I encourage you to play around with that positioning to find what feels comfortable and easeful in the lower back. Your forearms will be more or less parallel to the long edges of your mat. And I encourage you to find a block or maybe even some cushions in between your forearms so that your head has a place to rest upon. Now, if you already feel that your lower back is a little bit cranky here, that this might be a bit much, what you can do is you can start to pile or place some pillows underneath your ribs, underneath the rib cage, underneath the belly a little bit to support the weight of your body a little bit more. We're using the support of our upper arm bones to kind of be these tree branches or these tree trunks, and then letting your chest sink down towards the earth as if it was a hammock. Letting your head get nice and heavy here, finding support underneath your forehead. And so in this yin yoga practice tonight, we'll be in the postures for, on average, about 5 minutes. This one will be a little bit shorter. But see if you can find that sweet spot of your edge where it's not too much, but it's not nothing. Definitely not any pain. The first minute or so of each posture is really your opportunity to explore, to shift around and discover. You might bring your elbows slightly more forward or slightly more in towards center. Finding that support of those tree trunks, those upper arm bones. And again, if this is a bit much for your lower back, find that changing of shape in the lower half of the body. And find that support underneath the low ribs. What is your relationship with your body? Your relationship with this particular shape? What is your inner dialogue like? Is it full of judgment, negativity, assumption, demands? Or is there understanding? Is there compassion? Is there freedom? Let's stay for 10 more breaths here. Really softening yourself around the support of your bones. Harnessing that flow of your breath. And taking a couple more breaths. And far slower than you would like. Allow the gentle pressing into the elbows to lift the head, lengthen the spine back up. Now we'll come into a half bow tie or bow tie. And if you know that your upper arms don't, or your arms or shoulders don't really do well with having a lot of weight on them, what you'll do is you'll come onto the back of your body and essentially find the same kind of shape just on the back of your body in that supine position. But if you'd like to try here in this prone position on the belly, you'll take your left hand, fold it in so that it's parallel to your chest. Palm faces up. From here, you might begin to slide that left arm underneath your right and let your head melt down to the earth. Your right arm might reach forward. It might reach back. You might even loop it around your lower back. You might curl it in. It might act as a pillow underneath your head. Another option here is to do both arms crisscrossed underneath you in this bow tie. So as your left arm is parallel in towards your ribs, you'll find your right arm in front of it, palm faces up. You'll walk your hands, your elbows away from center, shifting the placement of your arms around a little bit until you feel supported, and then supporting your head. And so if you are taking that variation on your back, you'll simply find yourself on the back of your body. You'll drape your left arm over your chest first, and then your right arm below it. So take the variation that works best for you. Remembering that this time is yours to explore. Having both arms isn't necessarily better than just one. Or being on your belly isn't necessarily better than being on your back. Drop away from that thinking mind, that mind that labels, the mind that demands. And settle into what's really just here in your body. Using the movement of your breath, the inhale and the exhale, as if you have a broom and you're sweeping it side to side, clearing debris from your mind. Let your head rest heavy. Let your face soften. And watching sensations. And if anything starts to not feel quite right, like if there's a numbness or pins and needles, and take that as that you've gone too far past your edge. And let yourself shift until you no longer feel that, but you're at that edge. Or you can breathe fully, soften completely. And even though we have the front of our chest all wrapped up, can you still find your breath into this space? And can you feel your breath expanding through the entire rib cage, between the shoulder blades, sides of the body? You feel your body, your tension unraveling. We're here for one more minute. Letting yourself completely be within presence for the last few breaths. Really taking all the time you need. You can begin to unwind from this, slowly walking elbows back into center. Being very gentle with yourself, you can find your arms just reaching back as you place a cheek down onto the earth. Feel that movement of energy through the rivers in your body, flowing like water. And whenever it is that you feel ready to find your way into that same shape on the other side, you'll gently find that Sphinx pose once more, elbows down. Or if you're on the back of your body, just finding that same shape on the other side, draping your arms over the body, right arm closer to your face, left arm below it. So we'll find this time our right arm folding in parallel to the chest. You might find just that single arm, that half bow tie as you come down onto the right shoulder. You can place your forehead or a cheek down and find your left arm in any which way. If you would like to come into a double or full bow tie, you can walk your hands away from center. Your left arm now is closest to your chin. And both palms face up. Your arms might be a little bit more under your chest or a little closer to your chin. This side might need something entirely different. So with this simple, naked awareness, without language, without thinking, entirely through feeling, let yourself find that edge, that sweet spot, that Goldilocks spot. Finding that awareness of your breath. And letting this breath keep your focus here. Your breath anchoring you here. If you are unable to breathe fully, is it because you are past your edge in an unsafe place? Is it because you're distracted, disconnected? Again and again, find this practice of coming home to breath. We're here for 2 more minutes. And 10 more breaths. And as you breathe in, really practice staying with the inhale. As you exhale, practice staying with the exhale. If you'd like to stay a little bit longer, please do. But when ready, let this release be gentle, loving. Keep your eyes closed. And gently, eventually finding the arms by the side of the body. And if you're on your belly, place the opposite cheek down this time. Without that compression of arms wrapped around you, breathe into this newfound space. We'll gently find the palms placing down and pressing up onto all fours. Finding your way into a seated position. We're going to come into our fish pose here. And so if you have your 2 blocks, you'll find them at a T at the back of your mat. If you don't have the blocks, I'll encourage you to take a pillow towards the back and find that paper towel roll, or if you have a rolled up blanket or towel, something like that, you can place that along where your spine will land. We're going to find the base of our shoulder blades at this base of the block or whatever support it is that you have. So placing it along the spine in between the shoulder blades. The base of that is at the base of the shoulder blades, kind of at the brow line. We'll start to lie ourselves down onto that support and then supporting underneath the head. Now we have spent a lot of time in the opposite shape here. We are now bringing in this openness across the front of our chest. And so be gentle with yourself as you find this new shape, this new orientation, this new energy. You might reach your arms out wide, or your palms might rest close to your hips, maybe even on your belly. Your knees might be bent, soles of the feet on the earth. You might lie them long. Take the soles of the feet together and the knees wide for a Supta Baddha Konasana variation, a reclined butterfly. Adding support beneath the knees as needed. Know that there's different heights you can work with. There's not one correct, optimal shape that is cookie cutter for all of us to fit into. There is you, your shape, your expression, your needs in any given moment. Let yourself embrace that. Finding that shape that works just for you. And allowing yourself to soften around it, to surrender into it. And find that anchor of your breath. An anchor not because it's heavy, not because it's stagnant, but because it is steady. So it holds you within this space. And there truly is nothing here that you need to do. There's nothing you need to fix or figure out. You just simply need to breathe. And naturally, that's what you do best. And let that smooth nature of your breath flood through, saturate the parts of you that are really gripping, that are neglected or sore. And feel the back of the body. And feel how, as you breathe, there's a shifting in the distribution of your weight. And a shifting of pressure as the ribcage expands and your body presses into the earth, presses into the support of the blocks. And feel the opportunity to really soften as you breathe out. And we're here for one more minute. Another few full breaths. If your arms have reached out wide, one by one, bring them back to the sides of the body. If you've found that butterfly shape, take your hands, help your knees back up to center. We'll find the soles of the feet down onto the earth from wherever you are. We'll gently press into the elbows, lift the head and the torso off of that support. Let's just gently roll the spine back down onto the earth for a moment. You can keep the knees bent, or you can lay the legs out long once more. Just feel your body, feel your breath sink into the earth. More space than there was before. Different space than there was before. And take a full breath in. And a full exhale as you roll over onto the left side of your body. From here, gently pressing up, we'll find a seated position once more. Now, we're going to find a seated forward fold, and you have different options that you can find. So you might find caterpillar with your legs just extended long in front of you. You might keep the legs against the earth, or you might find a bolster or stack of pillows underneath your knees. And you'll find a forward fold, supporting your head as you land. If you don't have the blocks or anything like that, you can place your elbows down onto your lap, or maybe place a pillow down and then your elbows to support your head with your hands. The other option here is to take a wide-legged forward fold. So taking your legs wider. Again, you might have those straight legs, or you might take a bend into them, slide cushions underneath your knees. We're folding forward once more and supporting your head either with the props or with your folded arms. You might try one and it feels like it resonates a little bit more tonight. You might try the other. Maybe that one serves you a little bit more. Now, if you are looking to target your upper back a little bit more with these folds, what you might do instead of hinging at the hips and really folding from your pelvis there, is you might start really tall, tuck your chin in, and then curl the upper spine in, sinking yourself down to support your head, wherever that edge may be. The arms just melting to the earth or into your props if they're supporting your head. And soften all 10 toes. And feel the weight of the sit bones in the earth. Feel that curvature of your spine, the weight of your arms, your head. Breathing in all directions. Breathing wide and low across the back of the lower ribs. When you're inhaling, stay with the inhale. As you exhale, completely be with the exhale. dissolving between the two, the bottom of your breath, at the top of your breath. And as this soft state of being brings you into greater softness, brings you into greater depth, release, and let yourself follow that, perhaps adjusting your props to allow you to sink deeper. We're here for 2 more minutes. Another 5 to 7 breaths, not rushing through them. Very gently, very lovingly, you can place the palms down and bone by bone, unroll all the way up. Soften your shoulders. And if your legs are wide, you might take your hands to the backs of your knees one by one, bring a bend back into the knees. If your legs are in front of you, you'll slide a bend back into them as well. We'll find our way down onto the back of the body. We're going to come into a sequence of a couple of different twists here. So I encourage you to find a pillow or block on both sides of the body here. Coming down onto the back of the body, we'll land with the soles of the feet down. And just taking your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Very gently find your knees windshield wiping over towards the right. And then over towards the left. Let's go back and forth a couple more times. Your hands can just rest wherever they easefully land. Now, next time your knees are over towards the left, we'll pause there. This is going to be our next shape. So if you have your right knee really hanging in space, I encourage you to find one of those blocks and support underneath that inner thigh or inner knee. Well, you might stay just like so. If you would like, and if it is appropriate for your body, you might take your left ankle and place it on top of your right thigh, making sure that you have that support of that block or pillow underneath where that pressure is from the left ankle and the right leg. If there's additional support or space underneath the left knee, you might slide a pillow or something there too to help hold you within this space. You can reach your arms out wide into a T, or if you would like to bring a bit more opening into the upper body, you might find a cactus shape. You, of course, can be asymmetrical, or you can take your arms down to the belly. Maybe you take your gaze over the right shoulder. Not forcing anything here. Finding that simplicity in your breath. Can you feel how different your breath is at this point of the practice? Maybe more physical space for your breath to move as we have opened, created space in between the tissues of our upper back and shoulders, rib cage. Or maybe just the space created by quiet. Can you feel how easy it is to breathe slowly and fully like this? Can you feel how comforting it is? How satisfying it is? Let's take another 5 breaths. Gently inviting your head back into center and floating your arms back down into a neutral place. If your left ankle is on top of the right leg, release it back down to the earth. You can bring your knees back up into center. You can shift away any props that you've used. You may find one over on the left side of your body to be helpful. Slide your hips over towards the right and then stack your knees over towards the left. So coming into a bit of a different twist, bringing a bit more of this target into the spine and the lower back, maybe even up into the upper back as well. If there's space in between your knees, you can slide a support underneath it. If your right shoulder is really coming off the ground, two things you can do. You can either take that block underneath your right shoulder, or you can place it underneath your left knee to find that right shoulder flush against the earth. You can bring your knees closer up to your torso or further away. Maybe even straighten out your legs a little bit here. Again, arms can be placed however it feels right for you tonight. Maybe you take gaze over your right shoulder. And take a deep breath in. Follow your exhale to ground, to release. If you've become disconnected or distracted, find that anchor of your breath, holding this steady home to come back to again and again. Let's take 10 more breaths here. Staying longer if you would like, or joining me in releasing as you bring gaze back to center, and one at a time releasing arms back down. And finding your legs, your knees lifting back up into center, repositioning your pelvis, it aligns with your spine. Pause for a moment here in between. You can find your feet a little bit wider than your hips. You can find that gentle windshield wiping motion side to side a few times. And then the next time your knees are over onto the right side, you'll pause there. You might find that support underneath that left knee, or maybe the inside of your thigh. And this might be enough for you here, or you might slide your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Again, additional support might be helpful underneath your right thigh. Arms, again, in any which way. Adjusting to find that sweet spot. Staying away from pain or intensity or anything that pulls you away from that depth of your breath. And perhaps you take the gaze over your left shoulder. Whole body breathing. Feeling this natural rhythm of your breath. And considering how you can let go of the control of this breath. Instead of you breathing, let your breath breathe you. One more minute in this shape. You can take your time here to bring your head and your arms back into a neutral, centered place. If your right ankle is on top of your left thigh, slide it back onto the earth. Gently bringing the knees back up to center. Moving any props you have here, slide your hips over towards the left as you stack your knees over towards the right. And again here, exploring on this side how you can best support yourself and your ease. Block between the knees or underneath, or maybe under the left shoulder, maybe none. Maybe drawing your knees closer to your chest or straightening your legs out more, or the opposite. Arms placed intuitively. Maybe gaze over the left shoulder. As you find yourself in your shape, take a full breath in. Open your lips and sigh everything out. Feel this ease wash over you. Here for another minute and a half. Another few breaths. When it feels right, as easily, as gently as you can, allow the unwinding to happen, bringing yourself back to center, back to neutral, recentering your pelvis, this time setting up for your final Shavasana. So finding your legs long, or maybe even placing a pillow underneath your knees. You might reach your arms out wide, or maybe place the palms back onto belly and chest. Landing in a place of connection. And feeling the echo of your practice, this vibration of life in your body, of stimulation, awakening. As if you're breathing with all of the pores that cover your body. Breathe in, fill up. Exhale, feel yourself float light out of your breath. Know that I will bring you back shortly. Use the ebb and flow of your breath to bring awareness back. Once more, finding yourself anchored into your breath. If you would like to stay and rest for longer, you're welcome to. If you'd like to bring some movement back into the body, you're welcome to. Eventually, perhaps you shift your way over onto the left side of your body, keeping yourself within. Eventually pressing up, finding a seated position, arriving with your hands at heart center, your eyes closed. Settle back into your body, Right away, finding that depth of your breath. Lift your heart to your hands, bow your head to your heart. Honoring this time that you took out of the day for yourself. Honoring this tool that we always have right here available to us, our breath. Honoring the refuge we can find in the simplicity of this life energy, this life force, the ins and outs of our breath. From my heart to each of yours, namaste.